So you were on the island?
I was, apparently, I don't know. They said I was on the island. They said, I'm like, I don't go anywhere.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the continued Hollywood meltdown / panic over the Jeffrey Epstein docs, okay? As more and more information is coming out about who was on the list, who was associated with Mr. Epstein, and, you know, possibly associated with the activities that he was doing, participating in. Again, you having a full-blown freak out, okay? As people speculate who may or may not have been connected to Mr. Epstein, you're having people in Hollyweird basically threaten to sue anybody who simply asks questions about whether or not there may or may not have been some connection. Like, for example, Jimmy Kimmel. There's a full-blown panic that is happening at ESPN after Jimmy Kimmel's and Bits got his panties in a bunch over Aaron Rodgers insinuating that he might be on the list after Jimmy Kimmel's and Bits got upset or got triggered by Aaron Rodgers talking about the list on Pat McAfee's show. Okay, Jimmy Kimmel essentially tried to roast Aaron Rodgers first for simply asking questions about the list, even though Aaron Rodgers never said anything about Jimmy Kimmel. And Aaron Rodgers shot back at Jimmy Kimmel and said, hey, Jimmy Kimmel obviously is pretty nervous about the list coming out, right? He doesn't want the list coming out. And Jimmy Kimmel went into a full-blown meltdown, right? And now you have Pat McAfee basically running apologies on ESPN over Aaron Rodgers coming on the show and taking a jab at Jimmy Kimmel.
I can see exactly why Jimmy Kimmel felt the way he felt, especially with his position. But I think Aaron was just trying to talk shit. Now, did it go too far? And a lot of people... Jimmy Kimmel certainly said that was the case. We and I immediately upon it happening, trying to be like, ooh, you know. But that is Aaron and Jimmy. They've been
jousting a bit.
I don't know, you know? So, like, we obviously don't like the fact that we're associated with anything negative ever. We like our show to be an uplifting one, a happy one, a fun one, but it's because we talk shit and try to make light of everything. Some things, obviously, people get very pissed off about, especially when they're that serious allegations. So we apologize for being a part of it. Can't wait to hear what Aaron has to say about it. Hopefully those two will just be able to settle this.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Who knows what may happen with Pat McAfee and ESPN. That marriage could be over sooner rather than later over Aaron Rodgers taking a jab at Jimmy Kimmel. Everybody's trying to make Jimmy Kimmel out to be some type of victim, even though this guy routinely uses his platform to make jokes about Trump and his family members in ways that I don't really think are appropriate. But hey, he's a comedian, and I'm not going to complain about him making the jokes. He's a comedian. But when somebody makes a joke about him or takes a jab at him, all of a sudden he's a victim, right? Tells you everything you need to know about whether a comedian is actually really funny. If you have to have people come out and defend a comedian instead of a comedian being able to defend himself, tells you everything you need to know, okay? Jimmy Kimmel, not the funniest or most talented guy if he has to have so many people coming out and defending him. Like, for example, Nick Wright of Fox Sports, he went in a full-blown soy boy rant against Aaron Rodgers and his conspiracies, right, that he has been pushing lately on Pat McAfee's show. Take a look.
What's McAfee talking about? And all of a sudden, you're hearing about the Epstein list and Jimmy Kimmel. And we've all become numb to the fact of who is saying it and what he's saying. And that there was just flatly one of the greatest players we've ever seen in America's favorite sport, who plays in the biggest market, who has a bigger platform than any other player in the league, more power over his team than any other player in the league. That guy went on national television and casually threw out there to millions of people, hey, this guy that I don't like, probably a That's what fucking happened. And now this morning, when some of those Epstein docs were unredacted and released, what you have in the same corners of the internet are folks photoshopping documents, putting Jimmy Kimmel's name in them and saying Aaron was right. That is happening this morning already. And so when I tweet, he's gone from wacky conspiracist to malignant, dangerous force, I mean it. One of our most prominent voices in sports has become the face, the voice, and more importantly, the megaphone for any batshit crazy, half-baked theory he stumbles across on the internet.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Again, full-blown soy boy meltdown from Nick Wright of Fox Sports, attacking Aaron Rodgers for simply taking a jab at Jimmy Kimmel, who came after him first. Again, it's amazing how that works, okay? I listened to that whole rant, and not once did Nick Wright address the fact that Jimmy Kimmel actually started this by basically implying that Aaron Rodgers had a concussion, okay, or was concussed because he was concerned about the Epstein list or the release of the names in the first place, right? In which, Nick Wright doing that rant said that, well, the problem is that this has turned into a joke rather than people being concerned about the victims. And it's like, well, Aaron Rodgers was concerned about the victims. That's why he wants the list to be released, because people want people to be held accountable if they were involved with what Epstein was doing. Okay, and Jimmy Kimmel decided to make a joke out of it, right? Try to say that, again, Aaron Rodgers had brain damage for being concerned about the list being released, which is why Aaron Rodgers insinuated or implied that Jimmy Kimmel is concerned about the list being released, okay? Because who knows, right? He may have something to hide, okay? But, hey, Jimmy Kimmel, as far as this first set of docs or the documents that we're getting, he's not on the list. Okay, but again, that doesn't stop people like, for example, a Whoopi Goldberg from also being concerned about people implying that she may be on the list. So she's going to have a freak out on The View about people making memes and jokes about her possibly being on the list.
So late last night, about 900 pages of files on late convicted child sex trafficker and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein were released. And before we start talking about anything, we want to start with facts. And Sonny, I'm going to go to you for this.
Okay, because I was very concerned about some of the coverage that I seen. I mean, people were dying for this information. There was some sort of list that everybody thought was going to come out, and who's on the list. Only some of the documents have been released, about 900 of them. They've been unsealed. The documents, I have identified numerous Epstein associates and public figures that have been mentioned in proceedings of the 2015 defamation lawsuit brought by Virginia Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell, right? So that's the bulk of it. Wednesday's release marks the first set of documents related to the case to become unsealed. My understanding is that more are anticipated to be revealed in coming days. What's important for us to note is we shouldn't be repeating names that are on the list, because just because your name has, not on the list, but in the documents, just because your name is on the documents doesn't mean that you have done anything criminally irresponsible or illegal or civilly irresponsible. Or that you were...
Now, here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about that, right? That hasn't stopped leftists from implying that Trump was an Epstein client and that Trump may have been involved in what was going on, even though the documents basically exonerate Trump, right? They're proof, as far as what I've seen, that, hey, Trump didn't really want to have anything to do with that. But I do think that we should be asking a whole lot of questions about Bill, right? Bill Clinton, okay? We should be asking a whole lot of questions about Bill Clinton, okay? That's something that we should be talking about. Again, I'm not making any accusations. I'm not, saying anything definitive. I'm just saying I think we should ask questions, right? But again, they don't want you asking questions, which is why there's so many freakouts over this list and the speculation behind who's actually on the list. Now, for the record, I don't think that they're ever going to come out with the full information, okay? And I personally don't think that anybody's really going to be held accountable regardless of the information that comes out. But, it is one of those things that it is important for the public to know. And, hey, in the just world, in a just society, people would look deeper into this. Justice system would look deeper into it, and people would be held accountable if, they were participating in these activities.
A client.
Or that you were a client.
Right.
It only really, these documents, as I read them, only reflect Epstein's sexual assaults of women and his sexual behavior. So I think that...
And Ghislaine also?
And Ghislaine.
Oh.
And so being named in this suit does not equate to being accused of wrongdoing. And I think that is extremely important because conspiracy theorists seem to not understand or enjoy facts.
Here we go. Oh, boo-hoo conspiracy theorists. People are asking questions. Right. Hollyweird, politicians, the establishment, they hate questions, right? They hate people to ask questions. If you ask questions, you're a conspiracy theorist. That's kind of how it goes. Okay, asking questions about anybody that was, named in the documents and what their role may have been, you're a conspiracy theorist. And you're going too far, right? It's amazing how that works.
Yes.
These are the facts.
Yes. Let me bring that up. The conspiracy theory folks.
Yeah.
Because, I have to explain because there was a fake list.
Yeah.
And I'm on it.
So you were on the island?
I was apparently, I don't know. They said I was on the island. They said, I'm like, I don't go anywhere.
If the story was about a bus, it might be more believable.
Maybe, but it's like, so I'm just going to say, and there's been a lot of stuff recently. I don't know what I've done to anybody, but apparently there are a lot of these kind of sites that are, what do you call them? They're
Parody or
they're satire sites.
Memes, right? So Whoopi's freaking out over memes, okay, that basically imply that she's on the list, okay? I mean, that's what they are. They're just jokes. They're not to be taken seriously. Everybody knows what the real information is that's coming out. And that's why, again, to me, it's like, if you're innocent, there's really no reason to, freak out like some of these people like, Jimmy Kimmel are doing, okay? And then you have Whoopi kind of doing that too. If you're innocent, there's no reason to freak out, okay? People are going to create memes. It's the internet. People are going to say things on the internet. But again, these people are, again, mighty sensitive, right? When it comes to memes and jokes.
Sites. But people don't realize that they can be harmful. So let me just get my part out.
Okay.
I never got kicked out of Gordon Ramsay's restaurant.
Oh, gosh.
Never got kicked out of Guy Fieri's restaurant. I didn't get kicked off Bill Maher's show. I didn't get into a fight with Oprah backstage here at The View. I mean, it just goes, it's insane. It goes on and on and on. And what I'm going to say about all of that...
But are you having George Clooney's baby? That's what I want to know.
Not now. But I mean, sites get away with posting all kinds of garbage and they call it satire. But I'm saying this now. As we're talking about this, people who post these things should be very careful because once someone is cleared of your insanity, they're going to call their lawyer on you.
Well, I think news organizations need to be careful too because
so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Again, they're basically saying, hey, we're going to threaten to sue, right, if you make a joke about me potentially being on the list. It's just amazing the meltdown that's happening from Hollyweird in regards to this list. I think it really says a lot about, some of these individuals and just how sensitive they are when it comes to this list and who was involved with this operation from Epstein. I personally think that before we come to any definitive conclusions about anything, we should wait for more information to come out, even though I don't believe that all of the information will ever actually come out. They're never going to tell us the whole truth about who was involved with this. But regardless, I think it is fascinating to see the meltdown from people over just, speculation over who may or may not be on the list. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.